Hi everyone, I'm Ranj, the bearded plumber from Amsterdam. Hope you're all keeping well. Back in my little bearded hubby cubby, whatever you want to call this. The boiler I'm going to strip in this video is the Remeha Calenta. I know it's not really a boiler that is available everywhere in the world. I don't think it's in the UK. However, the UK has a Remeha Quinta, which I do think is still a different boiler to the one that I'm going to be stripping. But nevertheless, I have two of these boilers in my shed that I took out of jobs. I replaced these boilers in the last, I think, 6 to 8 weeks because on one of the boilers, the right-hand manifold was pinholed and the customer didn't want to pay any more money on getting this one repaired. And the other Remeha Calenta was pinholed on the left-hand manifold. As you can tell, that the Remeha Calenta has a weak spot on the older Calentas. I know that they've revised the new ones. They have brass manifold hydro blocks, but the plastic hydro blocks were pinholing. And this was one of the biggest reasons why I didn't want to go ahead fitting boilers with plastic manifolds and hydro blocks. Even though I now am religiously fitting the Vaillant Ecotech Classic, even though that has plastic parts in it. To be honest with you, I've never had a Vaillant Ecotech or a Vaillant plastic part pinhole on me, ever. If a Vaillant starts leaking from its hydro block, most of the time it is a diverter valve, where the cartridge obviously moves in and out. That's the only time I've seen Vaillants leak. And if they are leaking from the cartridge off the diverter valve, I don't think it's a boiler at fault. Most of the time the system water is so dirty that it's full of sludge and rust that it causes the O-rings and the bearings inside the diverter valve to wear and start leaking. So most boilers that I would install, I made sure that they had brass bodies in them or brass hydro blocks. But the Remeha Calenta, like I said, isn't a bad boiler. It's got a very similar heat exchanger, aluminium heat exchanger, similar to the one found in the EcoFits of Vaillant. I know they're different. I'm not going to say they're the same. They are different, but they're very similar sort of design. Aluminium heat exchangers, but I'm obviously a stainless steel kind of guy, and that's why I prefer the Ecotechs. So yeah, let's get the boiler on the table, and I'm going to strip it down for you guys just to show you how the parts come out. I know, like I said, you guys may never ever get to work on a Remeha Calenta, but those that will also benefit from seeing how to strip the boiler apart. But those that are new to the industry, the reason why I'm going to do these videos because I've got a Remeha Calenta, a Remeha Tezera and a Remeha Avanta in my shed to open up for you guys. Like I said, a boiler's a boiler. It just some people need the confidence of knowing how to open up a boiler and strip things out, because that's obviously the biggest problem that most installers have, and this is why they don't make the move and the transition over to becoming a breakdown and a service repair guy. They'll rather just do installations because they're a bit scared of opening up boilers to strip them and rebuild them. So that's why I'm going to do a series of videos. There's a few coming up, and I will also do a Vaillant Ecotech Classic and an Ecotech Plus, and maybe an Ecotech IQ exclusive if I can get one from Vaillant to do it. But that one, I'm not going to spend the money on a Vaillant Ecotech exclusive IQ on my own pocket. That's just way too much because then I have to sell it to a customer. Whereas the Ecotech Plus and the Classic, I'm probably going to end up fitting anyway. So I will definitely do them as well. So there are more videos coming up in the series of stripping boilers very soon. So stay peeled. And with that said, let's get the boiler on the table. Right guys, so I'm back. Boiler's on the table. Let's get it open. So basically big white cover as usual. As you can see, my stickers on it because I have been servicing it and maintaining it. Pull the front flap down and it's got this LCD display over here. It's got 2 screws underneath. You undo those 2 screws and off comes the cover like so. So that's that. Let's get the cover out the way. So with the cover off, this is what you see. You basically got this big panel. For some odd reason, it's huge. On the front here, this comes off. I suppose you could probably get some sort of programmer time clock or something that goes in here. I don't know why they've got this, but I've never seen anything in this compartment before whilst I've worked on these appliances. But it's got this LCD display. The LCD display is quite useful. It's nice and big. When you power it up, it is blue usually, blue or a sky blue color. And when it's in service, when it needs a service, it will go orange and amber. And when it is in fault, it will go red. So you know by the color of the LCD what status the boiler's in. And the LCD display also displays fault codes, what the boiler is doing, what status code it's in. Like number 3 on this boiler is heating mode, number 4 is hot water mode. Then you get your error numbers and all that other sort of stuff. Press the 2 bottom buttons and hold them down and it goes into service mode. And then you can press the right 2 buttons and you can go into the system diagnostics and the menu system. So basically you press on these side clips here and the PCB panel falls out like so, and it's held in place in situ with these drawstrings that hold it from falling forward. But I'm going to remove that for now. And then you lift the PCB down and out of the way, and there you go, the whole PCB's out of the way now. Because I'm not going to be keeping this boiler, I can take it all apart and show you the insides of the PCB. So using a flathead screwdriver, you undo the sides here. So you see, I just don't get why this panel's so big. But anyway, it's got one PCB, one main PCB here. This little PCB, I am pretty certain either it's an open therm module or, no, I lie. This is basically an SU01. This is actually the brains that tells the PCB what boiler this is. So you have to have this placed inside here for the PCB to recognize what boiler the main PCB has been fitted to. What I like about this boiler is that it only has one PCB, which is cool because I really do not like boilers that have more than one PCB, because then you got to sort of like, you know, test, is it sending power to the next PCB and blah, blah, blah. One PCB boilers are my favorite, hence the Ecotech. It's only got the one PCB. Not like the old Valent, I've forgotten the model number, that had like 3 fucking boards. That was annoying. But yeah, so otherwise, inside the PCB panel, there's not much else going on. It's just a board, and that one there is obviously a display board, and that really is it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it all out. And because this boiler was working when I took it off, other than it had a pinhole, I am going to salvage all the parts and keep all the parts just in case I go to a job where it's some elderly customer, like the one I had yesterday on the 2nd of April, where the heat exchanger on the Avanta is pinholed. The Avanta that I do have, that I'm going to strip, that heat exchanger was actually pinholed as well. So that's why I had to change that Avanta. Otherwise, to help the old lady out, who's 93 years old, I would have put that, you know, heat exchanger in just to help her out. But I know that's already pinholed, and that's why I can't fit that, retrofit it into her boiler. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip this boiler. Other than the hydro block that was leaking, I'm going to put that in the bin. But everything else that is working, I'm going to keep and just in a cardboard box label up what this boiler, where these parts were from what boiler, so that should I get a call in the middle of the night, in winter normally, in the middle of the night or in the middle of the weekend when the shops are shut, and just to help some family out, I will use these parts. So just going to strip the PCB out just to show you how you would remove a PCB. I believe this one I've never done. So I see here, this is like a locking setup. So basically it shows unlock there. So I think you unlock it, there you go, the PCB just lifts out. Small little quirky things like this, you know, I'm going to give it to Remeha that they do think a little bit for the engineer, or quite a bit for the engineer in all honesty. For example, the Remeha Avanta, when I service them, you can buy the complete service kits. It comes with the insulation board, the red silicone gasket, the burner gasket, which is graphite. What else does it come with? Ignition electrodes. So that is really cool. I really do love that about Remeha when it comes to the servicing kits. Even the Tezera, the Calenta, they all come with them. You can get service kits Not too expensive, and the nice thing is that when you're doing a service, you know that you can change all the components that need changing as part of a proper service. However, said that, the Ecotechs only want the G10 seal changed every 4 years, because that's all that really needs changing. Because on an Ecotech, the ignition electrodes I've got away many times by just cleaning them and putting them back, and never needing to even change electrodes. I don't know what magic Valent do with their parts, but they do last a lot longer. So that board, as you can see, looks like it's in perfect condition. Nothing looks burnt out, nothing looks like it's brown or black. So I'm going to keep this motherboard for sure. Even get the display board off, because you never know when you're going to need one of these. Display PCB out. So yeah, display PCB, as you can see, it's got a PCB on the back and the LCD display in the front. This boiler has a date, it says 12/34, so 2012. So yeah, actually, in all honesty, this boiler had lasted almost 10 years. Given that it's almost 10 years old and probably never been serviced properly, I think this boiler did its time. Fair play to it. After everything I've said about that small board on the bigger board, I may be slightly incorrect, because this little chip is called the PSU01. This, I know, sets the parameters of the board. So yeah, there is an error code that comes up if it cannot recognize this chip. So I'm going to definitely keep this chip because it's a PSU01 P213. So this P213 is basically the parameter 2.3, and some boilers that have a parameter 2.3, you're going to have to put it back in and get the boiler back up and running. So yeah, definitely going to keep this little chip as well. So now back to the main boiler with all these cables in the way. But this is the nice thing, although this boiler is big in dimensions, in size, I'm going to be honest with you, it doesn't need to be so spacious, although it's very nice that you can get your hands right in there. But here in this section, this whole section here is, man, I can probably, fit a 6-pack of beer in there. It's dead space. So obviously a boiler doesn't need to be this so spacious, because the more space it takes up, it can limit your options of where you fit the boiler. So just to do a quick overview of this boiler: condense bottle trap. It probably has some water in it, maybe, we'll see. But anyway, that slides. So the way you get that is you slide it up like so, and then slide it down, and that comes out. And it's got a little nipple on the top where this auto air vent from the heat exchanger vents straight into, so that it goes out. So that's the bottle trap, and because it's not leaking, I'll definitely keep this. So to strip this boiler, I think I'm going to need just these 4 tools. What I have with me is my favorite and my trusted Bucko 9029. So as you can see, it's still got the orange Bucko, whatever you call this thing, I don't know, packaging holder. Yeah, this one is a new one that I don't use. It's the one that hangs in my shed over here, and that's that one. My Nipex, dirty fly. My Nipex Cobras, the 250 ones, just in case I need them. Weira flathead, the 3.5mm flat screwdriver, and my Bucko ratchet screwdriver. The Weira ones in my tool bags in the van. This stuff is my spare tools that I have at home. So yeah, this is also a ratchet, but this one's cool because it's got a torch, as you can see. It's got a torch at the end. If you press the button, it stays alight. Double LEDs there. And yeah, I've had this for about good 3 years now. 3-4 years. Never needed to change batteries on it so far. To change batteries, there's a little screw just there, and obviously you're going to need a different screwdriver to open a screwdriver to change the batteries. But yeah, let's get on with it, eh? I'm going to start by, I'm going to need a 4mm Allen key, which I have one here, two hand. So yeah, 4mm Allen key for all the hexagon bits holding the pump in place and the plate heat exchanger in place. So yeah, let's get on with it. I'm going to start, I think, with the gas valve, just because. So on a normal service, actually, yeah, let's talk you through how I would service this boiler, and from there you'll know how to strip this and which way to go. So first of all, you'll obviously isolate the gas underneath the boiler, and then crack open, realistically, just this top nut, because this top nut will then undo the burner assembly and the fan. But for now, I'm going to just remove the gas block completely. Sorry, I said gas block. Gas block is what you call a gas valve here in the Netherlands. And yeah, I'm able to say, I know all the parts in Dutch now. Obviously, living here for 7 years, I need to know the bloody language, just so I know what the hell I'm talking about. But yeah, so the gas valve comes out, like so. It's just got 2 3/4 inch washers on either end. That comes out like that. And then a Phillips or a Posi, whatever you want to call it. I usually just call it Posi. I've never really called it a Phillips screwdriver. I've always called it a Posi. But you know, with Phillips Schofield around, I don't think we should be calling anything Phillip these days. But yeah, gas valve comes out. There's your gas valve. So gas valve's out. Another easy component to replace should you be getting ignition lockouts and, you know, other various gas failures as part of a boiler breakdown. So gas valve, again, like I said, I know this worked. I want to keep it. I'm just going to keep putting them behind me, and then when I finish the video, I will pack them away properly. So the cable, as you can see, it's got X21 connector. This cable goes all the way back to the ignition transformer. And the ignition transformer is held with a screw behind this exhaust pipe air intake. So exhaust pipe, sorry, it's an air intake, obviously, or silencer, whatever you want to call it. So that basically comes off like that. So the air intake's off. Obviously, the reason why, if anybody doesn't know what this is for, it's been designed to make the boiler more quieter when it's running, because obviously you'd hear horrible sounds without this when the fan is drawing air in to aid with combustion. That's why manufacturers have these on pre-mix burners. I forgot the word for it. Yeah, pre-mix. That's what a condensing boiler is. That it mixes the air and the gas prior to burning. Hence why you have to always set the CO2 on combustion on high and low to make sure that's all burning correctly. But that's an air intake out the way. And now we're at the fan. The fan is held on to the burner door, which is on the top side there. So it's got an electrical connector. Pull the electrical connector off the fan. It's got 2 hinges on the top side. You undo the 2 hinges, you lift it up, and you slide the burner out. And that is it. Burner out. So fan, which I do believe is a DC one. Yeah, it says 27 volts. So it's a DC fan. And the burner has this rubber seal. So let's put the fan and burner door down. So here's your burner door. And here's your burner. And as you can see, this one, the actual seal, when it was last serviced, I never serviced it properly. I went only there to do safety checks and to sort the electrical button out. That's all I ever did on the first visit. But this needs change. This needs replacing. So you can, again, like I said, as part of a service kit, you get the ignition electrode, you get the burner seal. So the seal is just basically a rubber seal that just slides off. Oh, and this one, as you can see, was quite tough to get off. It's actually stuck to the actual burner. But yeah, there's the burner. So this burner I would definitely not be keeping. But to check a burner, you basically hold it up to light and you look through it, and you want to see that it's all, you know, as clear as could be. You could lightly brush them down with a soft brush, but that's the burner. And this burner is like a stainless steel gauze kind of burner, and then this side is like some sort of mesh. Feels like fabric, but it's definitely not, because obviously fabric would burn. But it's like, I think Kevlar or some sort of carbon fiber stuff, and just a silicone gasket. This can definitely go in the bin. And now we're at the fan and the burner door. So to remove the fan, basically it's held together with two 4mm bits, or 4mm screws, 4mm Allen key screws. I'm sure that's what you'd call them. You know, sometimes I just get confused with the names of these things. But anyway, that comes off nice and easy like so. Pull the screws out. Oh, there you go. Had to give it a bit of a snap. So your fan has an air intake, you know, it's a one-way non-return valve. So obviously you got to service these as well. Not so regular, but you got to obviously make sure that it actually lifts, because you could get misfire. Non-return valve is stuck or sticking. So that's something you need to check as part of the service. So that comes off, the red silicone gasket. Fan, like I said, the fan was working, so I will give it a clean, a thorough clean with an air duster through here and through here, even with water. Wash it out and then let it dry naturally, and keep it. Again, like I said, it was working. I know this fan was working, so it could help someone else out, but I would obviously order a new fan seal should I ever need to use the fan. But because I want to keep this in stock, I'll just order one of these as backup and make sure I've got it with me at all times with the fan. I just noticed, so when I was putting the fan away, I just noticed that the union for the gas valve had come off. So as you can see, it's not circular, it's got some sort of indentation, so that you can slide it over the connection. Let me see. There you go, that's it, so now it's back on. I've never needed to change a fan, so I didn't know about that, but something that I've now seen myself. So yeah, so it's just always look out for these sort of things, that how they come apart and how you put them back together. So burner door, I will clean this one down. There's nothing to it, it's just basically it's open all the way. I'll just give this a good wash and a clean and keep this just in case I ever go to one that's possibly warped. Right, and now what should we do next? So that's basically how you would end up servicing the Remeha Calenta. You would open up the burner door, get it out the way, check the burner seal, check the burner. Next thing I would do on a job is remove the ignition electrodes. So ignition electrodes are held together with a posi screwdriver. You just remove the posi screws. 2 screws holding the ignition electrode in place, and slide that off the ignition transformer, and there we have it, ignition electrodes. So the transformer is held together with 1 screw, which also holds onto the earth pin or the earth connection, and that is how you would replace the ignition transformer should you be getting your, I don't know, I forgot what the numbers are on this boiler, but on the Remeha Avanta it would be the E4s, the E5s. So either it's ignition electrode, combustion's not right, or the ignition transformer is failing. I think even the E6. So that is your ignition transformer out, and like I said, this was working, so I'm going to keep this part as stock. Right, now where are we? So let's move the tools out the way. As you can see, the primary flow and returns are these really thick gauge rubber. To date, I have never had these rubber hoses pinhole on me or puncture or pierce. So these are, yeah, like I know Wiesmann have had problems. I know, obviously we all know that the Ecotex had those little rubber sections. that gave us problems, which they then redesigned and made them the slip copper type. But I've never had these rubber hoses fail on me, so fair play to Remeha on the hose pipes. What else? The nice thing about the Remeha Calenta and the Tezera, so as you know from watching me on YouTube and on Instagram, we have to fit PRVs always on systems externally to the boiler because they don't come as part of the boiler. But this boiler comes with the PRV built inside. The only thing this boiler lacks, so if I was to give this boiler a rating out of 10, where an Ecotech for me is like a 9.5, especially the Ecotech Plus, that's like a 9.5 for me. It's my favorite boiler. Actually, I want to take that back. It is a 9 to 9.5 in the UK because we get the expansion vessel built inside. In the Netherlands, we don't get expansion vessels built inside a Ecotech Plus. They want them external. Pisses me off because this is the whole reason why you will see me fit the lower end Ecotech Classic, which is in the UK the Ecotech Pro, because it has a built-in expansion vessel. And most of my customers live in 1, maybe 2 bedroom apartments in Amsterdam, and I don't need 18-litre expansion vessels. I just need a 10-litre expansion vessel. It will do. A 10-litre expansion vessel will be sufficient for me on the systems that I'm working on. So that's why in this country, the Ecotech Plus, I think, in my opinion, drops to like an 8, 7, yeah, an 8. I'd give it an 8. And the Ecotech Classic gets a solid 8 because the Ecotech Classic gives me what I want. However, the Ecotech Plus comes with a built-in PRV. The Ecotech Classic does not come with a built-in PRV. The next boiler that does come with both a built-in PRV and a built-in expansion vessel is the EcoFit Pro, which is your EcoFit Pure in the UK, but we call it EcoFit Pro here in the Netherlands. That comes with a built-in expansion vessel should I need it, and if it comes with a built-in expansion vessel, it'll come with a built-in PRV. The only reason why, again, I shy away from the EcoFit, as much as I love it, it's a lovely boiler, don't get me wrong. It's got an aluminium heat exchanger, same as the Remehas. And like I've said over and over again, I prefer stainless steel. It's just, you know, potato, you know, same thing, but different. And I will always choose a stainless steel heat exchanger boiler over aluminium. And that's why I prefer the Ecotech Classic. But back to rating this boiler. If this boiler had both brass hydro blocks on the left and the right, the pump housing was also brass, I genuinely would give this boiler a very strong 8 as well. I do like this boiler. I'm not saying I don't like it. It's a nice boiler to work on. As you see, it's spacious. But because it's so spacious, why not fit a bloody expansion vessel inside it? You know, you could pull this forward and, I don't know, or change your heat exchanger design slightly, make it a bit, or put it to the side. I'm sure you could get this heat exchanger onto its side and get an expansion vessel inside. This is just what I think designers of boilers should be doing, is designing for the all-round boiler, that one boiler fits it all. And then there's no need to think, oh, I need a PRV, oh, I need a expansion vessel. It's all fucking in the boiler. Anyway, that's just my opinion, that's the way I am. But back to stripping this boiler. Getting the PRV out, get your cobras or some sort of pliers, pull off the pin, and so he says, give it a little wiggle. There you go. PRV's out. PRV's plastic, it reduces costs, it does the job, it's a blimmin' PRV. It doesn't need to be brass. The nice thing about this boiler that I haven't discussed yet, so at the bottom here you can see these 2 rubber grommets. One is for the PRV and one is for the condense. And underneath, which I don't have with me, is a rubber housing that clamps on because the actual grommet has this lug. It clips onto the lug here. it holds in place so that the condense and the PRV is combined. Less work for the installer. I do like that design. That's great. So I'll keep that just in case that's ever split on the job. So this boiler is actually from 2012 because the serial number starts with 12. But the hydro block has a number 1830 on it. So 6 years later, like I was saying to you, you will see this video. So I did film this installation. Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's already on the tube. I've already uploaded it. I will put a link in the description of this video for the installation where I removed this exact boiler, this boiler, and fitted a Ecotech in this place. But in 6 years later, Remeha came out under warranty and replaced, or I think it was maybe not under warranty, I think it was a one-off pay repair sort of thing, and they replaced the hydro block from a plastic one to a brass one because obviously they also know that their plastic hydro blocks are pants, and they upgraded it to the brass. So all the new Remeha Calentas come with brass hydro blocks. I know on the left it does. I can't remember on the right. I will check on the next time I'm on a Remeha Calenta Ace and update you guys. Maybe a little short video for YouTube, or I might just add it to my not stories, on IGTV. I might just put it on IGTV on Instagram because it might be a short video just to let you guys know that did they upgrade it to brass on the right hand side as well. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, what I don't know for certain, I don't want to say. Let's get to the pump. As you can see, it's been fun. Stripping this boiler has officially been fun. It's not a horrible boiler to work on. 4mm Allen key. This is by a company called Bondes in the USA. Sounds German to me, but Bondes in USA. The 4mm tip. I know I love Wera, but I prefer T-bars when it comes to repairing boilers. When I can use a T-bar, I will. And this T-bar, you know, really, these are great. These are probably the best you're going to find in the market. So if you're after T-bars, guys and girls, get yourself the Bondes ones from USA. 4mm translates to 532 or 5/32, 5/32 inches. And that will be imperial, and that will be a yellow handle. So the pump on the right hand side has a 230 volt connection. I don't think you're going to ever come across a pump that is powered DC, because pumps need to alternate in speed. I'm pretty sure, but in boilers I've never come across a DC pump. It's always an AC pump. So 230 out the way, and then this cable here is, I'm pretty sure, modulates the pump speed, because there's no proving switch. I'm pretty sure that this boiler works with its temperature sensors, that if the temperature between the flow and return is either too same or too great apart, it will tell you the boiler's at fault. I had this the other week where I had to change a pump. It was an ERP pump that was knackered. On a Remeha Calenta, that was a Calenta L, and it was a plastic black little pump. It was basically, the error code on that boiler at all times was temperature difference between flow and return is way too high, and that was obviously because of poor circulation, so I changed the pump. But the pump on this one, 4mm Allen key. Off comes the standard normal screws that we are all used to on all Grundfos pumps. And saying that, this is a Grundfos pump as well. Undo the 4 screws, and this is why I was saying a T-bar is nice for pumps, because sometimes you need to just give it a bit of a welly to open up the screws. So they come out, and then the pump just lifts off. So there we have it, guys, pump. I know the system was working, so I will keep this pump as a backup just in case I ever need to, again, get family out of trouble one cold night in winter. I'll clean it up. Behind here, as you can see, that behind there is the diverter motor. Use a pair of grips and push down, and it pulls out this clip. I think it's called a hairpin clip, isn't it? Hairpin clip comes out, and the diverter valve comes out like so. Bit of shimmy shimmy. Standard diverter valve head. I know this definitely works. So we have now the diverter valve motor out. There you go. Pull that pin out and pull this out. This little thingamajig over here is a pressure sensor. I'm not going to pull this out just yet still, because I want to work on this boiler as if we were doing a repair in the real world. So now let's say it was the plate that needed changing. The plate heat exchanger has another 4mm Allen key bolt holding it on the right hand side and on the left hand side. The plate has dropped to the back of the boiler, and huge plate heat exchanger. So yeah, 40 kilowatts. There you have it, guys. That's what 40 kilowatts of hot water looks like. Obviously you do need a massive plate to deliver that kind of power and output and flow rates. So yeah, 40 kilowatt plate heat exchanger. So with that out the way, plates out, everything's out. To get these two housings out now, obviously you have to get from underneath the boiler. So underneath the boiler there's couplers or brass unions holding them in place. I'm not going to move the camera for this. I'm just going to trust me on this. I'm going to just use my grips and my spanner just to undo them. So because I'm not wearing gloves, I don't want to gash my hands, so I'll just use grips. But yeah, 3/4 of these sort of rings, union rings, they were holding the hydro block in place, and there's similar ones but now in 1/2 inch for the hot, cold and gas. Okay, we're done. So that's that done. They're all out the way. Gas pipe comes off, and as you can see, well, you can't really see, but the base of this boiler is starting to rust because of it leaking for so long. So that's the gas pipe out the way. Screws it out. So's the left side hydro block, and the left side hydro block is just clipped. One of these circlips, whatever you call these, you know what these are called. That's holding that in place, and there you go. What's nice about this is worth some recycling money. It's solid brass. But that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean it and I'm going to keep it. I'm going to remove these rings. This one's greased up. Let me get it off. Okay. So always replace these rings when you're working on a plate heat exchanger, because they leak. They get a bit hard, they get brittle, they get soft, they get flatter, they lose their shape and their integrity, and they will cause you leaks. So whenever you change a plate heat exchanger, always change them. But yeah, that's a solid piece of brass. I'm going to definitely clean it. And I've just noticed in this one, as you can see, that is a gauze filter, like a canoe filter in the valence. There's also one. Almost every boiler every boiler will have one of these, different in design, but they will definitely have this. Why? Because the water, this is the flow, so the flow goes this way from the heat exchanger, and then that was where the PRV was, so forget that for a minute. So let's close this. This is open in this direction. As you can see, down that direction is the heating circuit, where you don't need much protection. But through this section, where this filter was seated, was in here. So if I put the filter back in, it's going, water goes in this direction, and why that filter is there is because it's protecting this outlet, because this outlet goes to the plate heat exchanger, and we want to prevent the plate heat exchanger blocking up with muck and debris, which will obviously, in the long run, you will have problems with your hot water performance, and that is why you have that gauze filter sitting there. So I know I've done a few on the Remeha Avanta that give me the E10 error, that it just doesn't want to come out of overheat, and it's because the gauze filter is so blocked up that it can't send water down the plate heat exchanger when it wants to do its initial setup. So when the boiler fires up, it will, even this boiler will give you overheat errors if that gauze filter is blocked. Always check your inline filters. Every boiler will have it either on the flow, like so, as a minimum, and then as an additional precaution, it may also be on the return coming back from the heating circuit before it hits the boiler. So I know we all fit Magna Boosters and Magna Cleans and all these other filters. Fernox, what is it called? I forgot what the Fernox one's called. But anyway, you know there's a Fernox one as well. I've never fit a Fernox one. So yeah, there'll be a one obviously in the return as well. So always check for your filters. If in doubt, just go online, and every boiler manufacturer has their schematics online. Just open up the schematics, enlarge the picture, and just look at it, and you will find that there is a filter almost in every single boiler protecting the plate heat exchanger at least. So yeah, I'm going to clean that with some acids. Flow and return sensors. These are luckily dry pocket sensors that just twist in and twist out. And again, I will keep these because I know they work. They come off like so. So there they are. Little plugs, just screw in, job done. Keep them for sure. Overheat stat. That's what this is. That also just screws off. There you go. Overheat stat. Every boiler will have an overheat stat. What I've learned myself in this video, I hope you have too as well. I hope it's been informative. But if I was to ever change a heat exchanger on a Remeha Calenta, I would always order new hose pipes. These flexible rubber hose pipes are not going back in or coming out firstly in one piece. I have to cut them, so therefore they're not going to be good to put back, and therefore will need to be replaced as part of the heat exchanger should I ever have to do it. I was wondering where this was and what kind of one it would be. I've never replaced one myself, but let me get it off. So you've just seen me pull it off the back of the pump housing. This is a hall sensor. This is what detects the cold water coming into the boiler and triggers the boiler to fire up on hot water demand. It has this little black, let me see if it comes in focus. Yep, there it goes in focus. So this little black thing there, I don't know what it is. Is it a diode? I don't know what it is. I'm not going to lie, I don't know what it is, exactly what component it is. But all I know is that inside the pump housing, there's a flow turbine that spins, and this will detect the water movement and fire the boiler up on hot water mode. That's how the hot water side works. And my dear friends, pump housing is out. There you go. So again, off comes this clip. which I should have probably taken off first, just to make it more how you would do it in the real world. But anyway, nevertheless, there's your pump housing. Pump housing. So you can see pinhole, leaking water. Funny that, because I could see water leaking on the right hand side of the boiler, but I couldn't see this. So, but I knew that the plastic housing had to have pinholed, which it did. So yeah, I just it's a shame. It's a little bit of a shame that this boiler is €1,000 plus, and they still use this shit plastic. I don't know. You know, for €1,000, you're going to sell a boiler for €1,000. You know, Ferroli, I expect it to be plastic. It's fucking Ferroli. Who likes Ferroli? Or Biassi. What other one was terrible? Holstead. Wicks sold Holstead. Yeah, anyway, there were so many terrible boilers out there. I don't think they thought it through. And, you know, for a matter of what, you know, for a company of the size of Remeha, I think they should really do better on their pump housings and just make them brass. It's not going to be that much more expensive, you know, when you're looking at the grand scheme of things, you know, just make it brass. This pump housing is original. You can see the date. The date there says 29 October 2012. I'd been married for almost like 6 months at this time. Yeah, 6 months and 1 week. 6 months and 1 week. Yeah, 6 months and 1 week I've been married since this pump housing was actually manufactured. So anyway, enough about my marriage, because this is a YouTube channel about boilers, not about marriage counselling. But yeah, this boiler is from 2012, like I've said. It's done it's done well. It's definitely done well. What I'm taking away from this own strip down myself is that actually stripping a Remeha Calenta is actually really fun and easy. It's not hard at all. It really, I've done it, but you know, when you're in a job and you got other jobs lined up behind or in front or after the job, and you're always like sort of like just want to get it on and get it done and over with. After doing this myself, I will actually probably go down the route of repairing more of these now, because I can see how easy it was to actually strip this boiler out. Other than removing the black hoses obviously are designed to be tight and leak free, but the rest of the components came out nice and easy. We ain't finished with the housing yet. We can pull this out, and out comes your divert valve cartridge. He says, but I know it does. It will come out. Let me get a screwdriver on that. As one can tell, I clearly didn't plan ahead for this video. I should have used the removal tool. As you can see in the picture, the little yellow one, I have that tool in my van. Yeah, whilst I was filming, I didn't think about it, and now looking back, I struggled so much. Whereas with that removal tool, that divert valve cartridge would have popped out just like butter. I will do a video, a follow-up showing how to remove the divert valve cartridge using the removal tool. Still struggling with it. So anyway, now that I removed that clip is actually for this bit here, which is the cold water flow turbine. That comes off just like that, so all the way. However, that's not supposed to come off either, like so. Okay, something went flying. I think the gauze, there was a little thing on the end there that went flying, but that was in there, so like so. So water obviously gushes through this, it spins, it causes it to spin, and then there you go. That's what I'm looking for. So inside there is a flow turbine that spins and that gives that hall sensor, this one, a signal to tell the boiler to fire up on hot water mode. So this is definitely going in the bin. I think I battled for about 20 minutes with this. Right, and there you go guys, at least it's on the tube, it's on, caught on camera, that is out. But yeah, there you go, driver of cartridge, mullered, completely wankered all over by yours truly, trying to get it out. Leaking pump housing. The whole reason why I changed this boiler was because this one pump housing, customer didn't want to invest any more money in repairing this boiler because it's from 2012, almost coming to 10 years, and he was like, you know what, I just want a fresh start, new boiler, and that's when the Ecotech went in. So for now, we can slide this clip up. That clip comes up all the way. That was holding that part of the heat exchanger in. If I put this boiler, pull it up, and I remove the flue connection, slide that out the way, let's get it back down, like so. And there you go, heat exchanger off. And I forgot to actually remove this absolute lovely hose pipe, so I'm going to have to cut this one off probably as well, but nevertheless let's remove it. Yep, let's just cut it off because that ain't coming off either. Okay, hose pipe off, number 2. And boys and girls, there we have the flue collector. So obviously, as you can see, it's open, flue gases condense and go back down through here into the condensate drain. That's that part. Disclaimer, never seen that in my life. I've never taken a heat exchanger out on a Calenta. This actually weighs lighter than jasmine. So, looking inside, as you can see, it's got this sort of, yeah, I don't know. But you know, you've seen these heat exchangers, many boilers have them in the UK as well. I know you guys have seen this. It's nothing new. What boilers have this? I've forgotten now. So yeah, your Baxi ones, and obviously the EcoFits. They all have a similar heat exchanger. Like I said, it's a very similar design. And I did say to you guys, I keep a toothbrush in my van, in my tool bag. But for now, I haven't got my toothbrush on me. But yeah, you can just brush it down. That's how you would service this boiler. And apparently Remeha say not to pour any water down the heat exchanger when you're doing a service, that it will, I don't know, flush itself out, because what, some kind of toilet, so you know, like a flipping urinal that will flush itself, I don't know. But anyway, I flush water down it. I get a bottle of water. After I've brushed it down, I put water down it, you know, and I see the condense trap fill up with the debris, wash the bottle trap away, put the condense trap back on, and job done. Quite happy with this. I want to get this bottle vent off, because in case I'm on a job and the damn thing needs to be replaced, it needs to come off. Oh, there you go, it is coming off. And that was very tight, but it's off. It's off. Aluminium heat exchanger, guys. Not my favorite. It does the job, but still not my favorite. So as you can see, it's hooked on with these lugs over here, and then you got locking lug over there. Job done. Tools that were used for removing everything out of here: just a posi screwdriver. Doesn't have to be a ratchet one, but just a posi screwdriver. I didn't even use the lights on this. Again, I was just showing that there is a screwdriver with lights built on it. A spanner, set of grips, a knife to cut the hose pipes off, and just a flathead screwdriver. You know, I don't even think I use this other than trying to get that diverter valve out. But yeah, so what I've learned myself, that can come out the way. There you go, boiler's been gutted. Boiler's gutted. So on a serious note, I'm trying to be serious. I hope you enjoyed this video. I learned a lot myself today, stripping this boiler myself. As much as I've worked on them, I haven't ever had to bring it to its bare shell. I've learned a lot whilst doing this. There will be more videos coming. I think every boiler I strip off, if I haven't already filmed it being stripped like this, I will do so for you guys and for myself. We're all in it to win it and to learn from each other. I enjoy making these videos, and if you enjoyed the video and enjoy what I do, please kindly and sincerely give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave your comments. I obviously do my best to get back to everybody. Follow me on Instagram. I would sincerely appreciate it. It just gives me motivation to do more of this, to know that my stuff is being watched and that people find them useful. I don't do the videos of like how to service a boiler and how to repair certain things in boilers just because there's enough people doing them sort of videos. I'm trying to do the more, you know, gut a complete boiler out just to see how easy it is to take out. Please share, like, subscribe, you know, do the usual. Gives me motivation to keep doing it. And also follow me on Instagram. And I learned a lot from this video, well, trying to film this video and stripping this boiler down myself, and I hope you did too. And if you found it interesting, you know, please do kindly reach out. And I also, in my description, will leave the link for the video for this boiler that I stripped out. I stripped this boiler out and replaced it with the Ecotech. That will be there. Go have a look at that. And I have an Amazon page, a shop front, where all the tools I use are on there. If you're interested, you know, click the link. It's all in the description. You don't have to go searching for it. Just go to the description, click the links. It's all there. Every little helps. And yeah, I want to keep on making these videos for you guys. I don't know what else to say really, other than I hope you all stay well during these COVID times. And my hands are filthy, but nevertheless, live long and prosper. See you in the next one. Over and out.